Okay, we're on.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
All righty. So after the last video, we're a little bit we're back up in energy, maybe not to the full normal level, but it's definitely higher than when we did the one on time. We were just feeling it from everybody, so we were just talking about that. Everyone's pretty much feeling pressure from time and schedules, and I think that's what kind of called out to me to do that on time. So this one, different energy about it. So it was still difficult to pry out because I was being engulfed by the feelings that was the catalyst for this. So let's see where it goes.
Should we pull a card? Or?
Yeah, go ahead and pull a card.
Okay, let's see what happens. Pull a card. They've been very appropriate every time. Never fails. So we'll see. I love these cards. Someone didn't want to go. Okay.
Eagle. Eagle.
Hey, this usually means from like it can mean several things, but the eagle eyes, flying high, eagle view.
Eagle also represents America.
Oh.
Yeah, I've heard America and freedom is what was coming to me. Freedom.
Yeah. The number 16. So, and it's got like the sphere there.
I get that now. I get that.
Yeah, where it has,
I get that.
Okay.
I get that.
So we'll see how that unfolds.
I get that.
Yeah.
What was the bottom?
The bottom one was the arrow.
The what?
The arrow.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's interesting. All right. All right. So here we go. First item. Are we there yet? Like a courtroom drama, the deed has already been done, and all that is left is the play and the verdict. This will acclimate the public as the old structure is brought down. So what I was getting from this is we just did the video on time. So how people look at things how people take time is gonna affect how some of these things come to them.
Okay.
And I've stated this to you before for a while. My belief, and this is, it kept coming back, and I kept pushing away. I said, no, I don't want to put that in the video. And here, I didn't put it in this, and yet here it comes up. The powers that be were actually defeated years ago. And what we've been getting since, because how in the world did Trump win the election? Okay, I think Trump is actually ushering in the new world. The
unveiling is what I get.
The downfall of the old system and all the politicians and whoever are getting ready to be publicized that are
like the political construct is collapsing.
Right.
Yeah.
This was planned after the defeat. I'm probably before the defeat, but I mean the defeat, and then this is just a play to get everyone to know that their prisoners have been taken care of.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing now is, let's just say that they're controlled by the white hats. They're still, from certain perspective, they're still not good, these politicians and these corporate bigwigs. But if you, like I said in the last video, if you, or one of the videos, if you actually go check, if someone were putting a list together of all the deaths, suicides, or whatever, the resignations, people who aren't running for office anymore, big corporate bigwigs that have left, all these, if you were to take a full list of it, you'd be amazed at what happened. I think that's actually part and parcel of what's already happened. Mm-hmm. This is we're on the downward slope. Downward meaning easier, mm-hmm. From all the stuff that had to be cleared, mm-hmm. from this whole realm, and the bulk of it is done.
Right.
It was done. Yeah. It was a war. It was a real war. There were nukes involved. There were people who getting attacked and battles being fought all over, above us, even on the surface, and even below us. All that was going on. We saw them as storms and earthquakes and whatever else. But these were, mm-hmm. they were fighting in just more than just this dimension. Yeah. To free us from where we are. Mm-hmm. So right now, it's kind of like the courtroom drama after that's all been done. Now
trying to get all the facts straight and figure out what was what and what's going on. Yeah.
Or to do it in the public so everybody can see it, yeah. And be, to be quite unveiled, or people to know about it, because all of that was done without us knowing it.
Right.
So how do you go from that to the new without having a process by which to acclimate everybody? And that's why it feels so rapid right now. It's just like there's all this stuff that has to be out into the consciousness. Yeah. And so it's like there has to be some rapid nature to it, in order to get it all out there quickly, or else we drag this thing out for a very long time.
Yeah. But I believe that a new directive has been passed down to speed this up. Mm. So I think it's actually, now we each are going to work at our own speed, but to provide a backdrop, I believe what we're seeing on the TV and the news about what's Trump doing and what's happening to Trump and what are the Democrats doing and who's impeaching who and who did who was in Ukraine and who did what and all that is just a backdrop to what we are doing, because it's what we want. It's what's going on with our energy. Mm-hmm. That is just a backdrop to spur us on or to slow us down, so that the public stays intact, roughly intact. That's the whole point of this, is to get the majority of the population on this, at least in this country, but I also believe it's the world, over the threshold, mostly intact, with the least amount of casualties, be that mental casualties, heart casualties, physical casualties, whatnot. I think that is what they are triaging on the fly right now. But I do believe, because I woke up from that dream and I told you about it, that I felt like I was working on being councils within councils and saying, we need to speed this up. Because there was a kick to end this, just to end it all and just jump to the finish line. because of all the pain and suffering that's going on. Just end it and just boom, and then everyone's memory would be adjusted appropriately, and no one would know. You'd felt like you'd gone through it and everything had worked out the way it was supposed to.
You were in the new earth, the new society, boom. But we talked about the fact that if we did that, what learning would be missed,
Yes.
so.
And that's why it wasn't, because of certain, lots of people that most of that directive was from people or from beings out there that are not here. They're not boots on the ground here. They're out there and they're watching. And imagine if you're a parent, because that's kind of the role they're playing, is kind of like parents watching your kids suffer. At some point, because there's always been some of them saying, "Come on, we need to get down there and help them. Come on, I'm sorry."
And not completely understanding human emotion, I can imagine they're like, what's happening?
Exactly. So, but
I often think about that.
Yeah. So just recently, many more got on board that narrative or that push to let's get this. Let's just push through this or whatnot. And there were those here that are boots on the ground during their dream time, went up to provide testimony and input, and they said, "Whoa, wait a minute! You're gonna sacrifice the thousands of incarnations we've gone through and all the setup, because all of this was set up for the bliss that we're working up to, and we're going to sacrifice all that and forego the learning of going through what we're now going through,
right?
Just because there's some pain and suffering. I don't mean to put down anybody's pain and suffering, but there's going to come a time where all of us are going to look back and say it was worth it. We all have played all the roles. We played the roles of being being a severe victim, brutally abused, and we've all played that.
Right.
Either as male or female, it doesn't matter. We've all done that. So there were more of the boots on the ground that were providing input, saying, "No, we got this. We're good. Yes, we're we feel the pain and suffering going on, but if you tap into them and pull them out away from their suffering and say, give us a clinical, understanding of where you're at, would you be willing to forego?" They're like, no, I want this to be worth it. I want this to be worth it.
It's like they would miss some of the archetypes to work through without that. And I do remember you talking about the fact that not going so slow, though, that it was kind of like a medium of,
That was the recommendation is, okay, but let's speed up the background. What's going on in DC, what's going on around the world in politics. Not that it really matters, but it matters for the masses. Let's kickstart what might be perceived as turmoil.
To awaken, to open the eyes of some that are still sleeping.
Yeah. So that's what I believe is going on now. It's going to be unfolding for those who have eyes to see. They're going to see that, love him or hate him, when it comes to Trump, he is a disruptor. That is what he's meant to do. For anyone who says that,
he's a trigger for a lot of people.
Lots of people. For anyone who says that he is of the old system, he's still part of the cabal and whatnot. Well, why were the media bashing him before the election, during the election, and afterwards? They have gone nonstop against him. So I don't know. All I know is the backdrop is the military was predominantly behind Trump, and there were a lot of intelligence operatives or intelligence people who were really, really in the know in the intelligence arena, who would ask Trump to run. And they knew what was what, who were the real corruptors and criminals and whatnot, and they put a plan together. And that plan has been unfolding since Trump's been in office. Again, love him or hate him, doesn't matter. That we're going to reach a day where Trump's not going to matter.
Right.
Okay. So, but he is here to disrupt this, and then it's up to us to do whatever we're going to do.
I feel like he's also, I mean, he's so, because he's all over Twitter, like he keeps everybody's eyes are on Trump. So all the other shit can be done, and everybody's watching this and engaging in that emotions about how much they hate, love, whatever Trump, you know, it's crazy.
Plus, if we were looking yesterday at the tarot, you know, you have the Tower card, the Trump card, and you go back to some of the, I mean, you can look back with eyes to see, and you can see where it was all kind of sequencing. And it had to be somebody outside of the current system in order for the system to not be rescued, you know.
Well, there are those out there who are actually reading the code. There's
yeah, it's really fascinating.
It is so fascinating. They look at Trump's tweets. They look at his misspellings. They look at when he capitalizes certain words and the sequence of those words that are capitalized, and then the timestamp on his tweets. And they string these together, and damn if they don't actually make sense if you step back and just say, hold off. And one person is serial brain too.
On Reddit.
And I mean, when I first started reading, I was going, oh my God, this guy's got some good weed. But the more I read it, the more I started coming around going, oh my gosh, there is no way this could be by accident.
And it's been a year.
It's been
or
more than a year.
2 years. So it's not.
And it is so
it can't
amazing.
Be by accident.
And you gotta send this to me when we get off this. That's crazy.
And so this
late wormholing tonight.
The latest thing going on, I don't know if people are going to see whatever they want to see. Okay, I'm just telling you a perspective that I've noticed. Trump actually goaded the Democrats into coming forward in the public, like Nancy Pelosi did, calling for an impeachment of him. He did this on purpose. He used Ukraine as the objective. The reason, because this call that he made to the Ukrainian president, it could have been a call to anybody, but it happened to be to Ukraine. Well, there's a lot of things that happened in Ukraine, right? The big one that's actually out in public is that back when Biden was vice president and Obama was in office, Biden's son, Hunter, was actually had some business dealings going on in Ukraine, and who knows if it was on the up and up. Let's just say there's a lot of things getting ready to unravel about that. And at one point in time, Hunter Biden was being investigated from the Ukrainian side, and Daddy Joe stepped in to threaten the Ukrainians that if they didn't fire that prosecutor going after Daddy Joe's son, then Joe was going to withhold $1 billion worth of financial aid.
And he bragged about it.
It's on camera. I've seen it many, many times. It's actually Biden up on stage with two other people, and and people were laughing in the audience when he was saying, and I told so and so that he better get rid of that prosecutor, or and I'm out of here in 6 hours. So if you're not done, I think the person he was dealing with said, "You're not the president," and he goes, "Well, go ahead and call President Obama, and we'll see what happens." And so
he was bragging about
this was basically putting pressure on them to do something. This is exactly what Trump was being blamed for by the Democrats when they put forth impeachment. The thing is none of them had heard the phone call that Trump had with the president of Ukraine. They had never heard. They hadn't even heard it yet.
Benign.
But they said they had a whistleblower that said that Trump had put pressure on the Ukrainian president, and that's why it was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, there was none. But basically, what Trump was doing, what they didn't like, what Trump did was actually say to the president of the Ukraine, saying, "I'm hearing some funny things about Joe Biden, and I think he should be investigated. And I heard that there was an investigation going on in the Bidens, and it was cut off or something. But I think we should get that going again." And he also said in that phone call that I heard that you have a server over there that has all the missing
Clinton emails.
I don't know. Why would that be? Why would it be in Ukraine? Well, if you were going to hide some emails, you wouldn't hide it in the United States. Right. You'd hide it somewhere else. So I don't know what's up. I readily admit, I don't know, but I do know it's kind of fishy that Trump wasn't worried about any of this at all, and he was basically just goading them to impeach him. He was trying to get them.
Well, the interesting thing is he's done that with the press over the whole time he's been president. So
he gets free press.
Yeah, yeah. So
he knows he's pretty smart about this.
I mean, if you look at his intelligence score, there's only one other past president that has an intelligence score higher than his.
Yeah.
And so, but it's, it's fascinating to watch. Whether you love him or hate him, it's just fascinating to watch. And Serial Brain does a great job with the codes. I mean, just the codes that are used to, which celebrities are announcing their divorce, which ones are announcing that's not Trump using that. That's the other parties using it. But it kind of unveils as you're looking at all these code sets going, they're passing information. It's news, like he's passing information and they're passing information, and it's really interesting.
That's the thing, is that the cabal have been passing information in and amongst each other by news stories. Mm-hmm. They put out news stories and they use particular words, and those words are coded in such a way that they know how to break it down and read the message within the message.
Mm-hmm. It's like a spy novel is what it's like. Yeah. It's crazy. But
there's probably going to be helicopters flying over your house in a few minutes.
Yeah, they already do that.
They already do it. We got our orb buddies here, so I think we're good. I think we're yeah. So if we stop doing videos, I want to go on record. Listen, read my lips. I want to go on record. I am not suicidal.
And I'm depressed.
Me too. I'm not either.
Yeah.
We're all covered now.
If something happens to us, Melissa got on the spaceship. That we talked about.
Right. That's exactly.
Right. So anyway,
we'll see what happens. I find when I can step back and I can just check all my biases and just step back. Yeah. If I just open my mind and say, "What if?" and just start reading some of this stuff, it's a great spy novel. Mm-hmm. It really.
Yeah, I don't pay much attention to it. I read the highlights sometimes.
Well, it's interesting because we talked about the fact that depending on where your vision is, because like we've talked about going into fifth dimension, sixth dimension, and what we can actually see at that point is different than what we see when we're in our third dimension energies. So it's interesting to see one thing happen and people to have complete different viewpoints on that very thing. So if you have the flexibility of going up and down the scale, you can kind of look at what's happening and you can see all the layers. They can see this, but you can see that, and
right.
Fascinating. It's like it's actually more than 3D chess. It's 5D chess.
It's totally fascinating to me.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right. So the next one is within glory's blaze, you'll welcome your tribes. Logic's turmoil will open roads to the doorstep of your heart, and you'll know just what to do.
Yeah, that feels good because, especially based on what we just talked about.
Yep.
So when things...
What, do you mean these are related?
Get disrupted. When things get disrupted, then yeah, it's going to be, people are going to start collecting based on resonance and similarities, and your communities will start forming, and because all of a sudden the old stuff that's gotten us locked into our daily rhythm and patterns will be different. Will be changed. Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah, because I do think within glory's blaze, I think that's what's beginning right now, and that's going to be what's happening in Washington. Is all the turmoil that's going to start spiraling out of there because it's going to be triggering so many people.
Right, freaking everybody out.
The more you're holding on to it, the more you're going to get triggered. And this was planned in order to get people break away from these attachments.
Right.
What's going on there is real, and it's not real. It's actually fabricated. It's to get us acclimated to a world away from the establishment and old infrastructure, so that we can begin manifesting a whole new world.
Because it's kind of like everybody's getting so fed up, just like you said, Jenny, you're not paying any attention to it. There's so many people now, they're just like, all right, do whatever you're going to do over there. We're going to do our thing here. And that's kind of, it's done in that way so that people are going like, I can't make sense of anything you crazies are saying. So, just, okay, go play in your own backyard and we're going to go do our own thing. And that's kind of what you see happening. A lot of people are now not following and not paying attention to it. So there's still a lot to do, but there's a number of people that are saying like, yeah, it doesn't matter to me what they do up there. We'll take care of our neighborhood and
and that's what this is. This is to push people away from it, for people to get sick of it, or people saying it doesn't make sense anymore, just to break free of what's going on there. That's actually all part of a plan. It is going to start looking ridiculous.
More ridiculous than
it already does.
It's going to look utterly, comparative to that, it's going to be even much more ridiculous. So just to me, it's your reaction. If you are able to pause when you're triggered, will tell you something about yourself. So just, that's my perspective.
I'm looking at this and I'm looking at okay, I'll wait.
No, you can go ahead and say it.
Yeah, it's landing.
Oh yeah,
the eagle is landing. Yeah, that's what struck me when I looked over there, and I was like, it's actually coming in for a landing. Interesting.
Yeah. So the next one is opening the eyes to the storm shows the vision to your calm. a familiar knowing will blow the fear from your heart. So this storm is going to be, it's going to be circling, and the eye of the storm is going to be over DC. And how we take it will basically lay the road in front of you. So if you can turn and look into the storm and see it for what it really is, the ability to do that will show you the calm path that you need to take.
That reminded me too of when Dorian came through and the peacefulness, and as it came up, the closer and closer to us, being able to stay in that peacefulness and that calm and that center. It was not turmoil at all.
Right.
Others who were maybe off balance or whatever, they were worried and traveling, and so I mean, that's even, you can see that was kind of a microcosm of, and the way that happened can be repeated no matter what the storm is, whether it's the storm in the sea or any.
Yeah, I mean, that's, if I don't give it energy, it doesn't affect me at all. Like, I mean, with anything that happens, whether it's political or a storm or any of it, that's how my kids are too. Like, if I just don't give it any energy, it doesn't even affect me. It's not even there,
And that is the objective, or that is what the hopes are for each one of us.
Yeah.
Is to not give those type of things our energy. But we all know that there are people who, they need drama in their life, and they're going to they see it there. They see it as a great opportunity for them to have an issue, and that gives them meaning. And there's nothing wrong with it. Thinking you're doing it because your higher self's trying to trigger you. It's trying to get you to see something and to understand it so that you can find a way to transmute it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next one is, it won't be the angst of the play you feel, but that of the audience. Giving them popcorn reveals their seating. So, empath, provide them their concessions.
Yeah. So don't be concerned with the play that's going on, the actors and the turmoil, but those in our communities, those around us, that are in the audience. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking typically, I think that the majority, if not all, of the starseeds that have at least woke to what's kind of going on, they're empaths. Okay. So a lot of times you feel something and you think it's yours. It's actually not yours. It's actually coming from probably a family member or close friends, or if you're even strong enough to reach out further, it could be from your whole community. It could be from your state. It could be from the country. So the thing is the play itself, because I think that the deeds have already been done, and this acting out now is all play, that the harmful energy has been dialed way down. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people that aren't still going to be triggered by it.
Because the trauma.
So the angst that you pick up is not from you watching or, occasionally observing what's going on in DC. It's going to be from the people who are still being triggered by it.
Right.
So these are, the way I worded this, they are the audience to the play. And giving them popcorn reveals their seating. Sometimes just knowing that you've got a concession, some popcorn, or a drink or something, lets you know, oh, I'm not living it. I'm actually sitting in a chair watching it. And a lot of times people lose their minds and feel like they're actually there they're in a movie.
They're part of it.
They're part of it.
Oh yeah. I get that. They feel, so much.
Yeah. And so sometimes just a little nudge from an empath can bring them back enough to where they can dial it down.
Right.
So it's up to us to figure out what those concessions are and provide them in such a way to, I don't know, insert some calm within the turmoil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Definitely. Yeah, that feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And we, you can call it a variety of things. We call it healing sometimes, but it's not a distraction necessarily for them, but it is to help them see where they are, to give them popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it is a distraction, but it's also a pacifier. It can also be a mirror. Hey, you realize you're sitting in a seat and you're watching this? It's a clue that you're not really there. You're over here. You're not actually playing that role of that protagonist. You're somebody else, and you just dove into it too deep.
Sometimes laughing and the humor helps too.
Always. I feel like always. Bring a little bit of joy. It only sucks when they throw the popcorn back in your face.
But I mean, this is all I don't know, microcosm to what we've done in coming here. We all took to this world hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
So we did anything that other people are doing. We did it too. I mean, think about where you were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So they're not to be belittled or anything like that.
No.
It's why most of us are here. The star seeds are here to provide beacons, not to fix them, not to save them, but to give them their concessions. Find out what it is that will, I don't know, give them a broader view so that
spark something.
Yeah.
Spark them. Yeah.
Typically, ignorance is often associated with, let's just say, bad decisions. And had you had more knowledge, you'd probably make better decisions. Well, think about where we are and what we've gone through. We had limited knowledge about what was really going on. Well, I believe that's coming online now, of what really is going on, what really happened, what we've been playing into, what we don't really have that we thought we had, like freedom, things of those nature. Will be coming, the knowledge will become, no one's going to give it to you. Right. The knowledge is going to start coming online. You're just going to know certain things, and you're not going to really know how you know it.
Right.
And that is your truth. And everyone has their own version of their own truth. No two people have the same truth.
And it's not our jobs to convince anybody of anything.
Nope. All right, so the next one is, many will escape the unfolding drama for the world of the phantasmic. The beholder eyes their own prize.
Okay, say that one again.
Many,
excuse me.
Many will escape the unfolding drama for the world of the phantasmic. The beholder eyes their own prize.
It's what you pay attention to.
Yep.
Right. What you choose to,
So what's real right now is going to seem bizarre to some people that are past it or not there, and other people are going to see things that to them is going to be completely impossible, unreal, yet it's going to be very real to other people. That's what I'm calling the phantasmic. It's well, the next one kind of hits it a little bit. It's the unfolding of your truth. It's what we were led to believe about all of this is coming down. It's the structures and the energy holding all these things in place, and how we were able to buy into it and all stay roughly congealed to it. All those structures and energies are starting to crumble. And as it does, we're going to start to realize, the matrix starts, doing funny things. It starts showing you things that, oh, I didn't know that was there. Oh, I thought that was real. That's not really real. It's not really there. So those type of things are going to begin happening. So the next one says, questioning the narrative glitches the matrix, which leads to the power behind the curtain. You've been fostering your own illusion. Individually, most of us are good. So why are we following the dark narrative of but a few? The TV, I mean, everyone poo-poos the TV, occasionally about, whatever. But what they've actually done, there a while back had us glued in, feeding energy into their power to show us a narrative. We bought into it. We thought what we were seeing on the news is what was typical in our country, at least in our country. So the stories they would put out, we basically thought that was America. That's what was going on in the United States. That's what people are. That, there's this percentage of Democrats, this percentage of Republicans, this percentage of, down the middle, independents, so forth. This many people are gay. This many people are, this minority. This,
all the statistics, yeah.
And that white privilege is established this way, and all they basically fed us this narrative, and for quite a while we were feeding energy into them in order to strengthen them to then feed it back. So it was an endless loop. Well, the truth is coming out, whatever that is for you. But I'll tell you right now that the polls that they put out, I mean, how in the world were all those polls right before the election, so wrong? I mean, CNN, who is the most trusted name in news,
constantly negative news,
said that Hillary Clinton, a day before, at least I think it was a day before the election, had a 92% chance of winning.
Yeah.
Okay. That's worse than the weather forecasters. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So how are they getting it so wrong? But then, we come back and then give us some more truth. I mean, we basically keep saying, oh, well, but the thing is that CNN has lost its viewership. It is just a puppet now.
Yeah, most news channels are.
Yeah, most of the mainstream media have lost their viewership. All they've been doing is holding up basically a scarecrow. It isn't true that these things that they've been pushing on us, they've been trying to get us to believe them so that they could then empower themselves even further over what we do, and then they they would know where we were going before we went there. And well, of course, if you have that kind of information, you've got power.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all the money you would ever need because you know what products they're going to be buying. You know where they're going to be spending their time, and because it's all pushed on us. So they were leading it. The media was the mouthpiece to do it. And we're going to start learning out who the people were behind the news,
Mm-hmm.
that were utilizing the news. Now, a lot of the people on the news, they're just puppets. A lot of them didn't know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
They just read from the teleprompter and did what they were told to do because they were making good money.
Right.
Can you read that last one again?
Many will escape the unfolding drama for the world of the phantasmic. The beholder eyes their own prize. And then,
Yeah, the next one.
okay, questioning the narrative glitches the matrix, which leads to the power behind the curtain. You've been fostering your own illusion. Individually, most of us are good. So why do we follow the dark narrative of but a few?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they have the mouthpiece. They have the microphone kind of thing. But also what came up as the visually was Dorothy in the Land of Oz. You know,
Yeah.
that image came up behind.
Well, that's exactly what it was behind the curtain.
That came up for me too.
Yeah. Well, you got to realize part of what we talked about, the code that the powers that be have been utilizing, they use symbolic codes. There's a lot of symbology. Symbology has a lot of power behind it. And you can say you can convey so many thoughts with just a symbol or an analogy. This is what they call magic.
Yeah.
You can move someone with words. You can move someone by stringing certain words in certain order and stacking them just so that it actually will move people. But if you move something out of order, you change the energy structure of that magic, and it loses its magic.
Yeah, and when you study some of this and start paying attention to it, you can feel like right now if there's shows that I used to like, and now if I watch it, you can feel where they're playing it like an instrument, you know, like the music, what order it goes in, you know, what's behind, like the subliminal messaging that's behind it. It's
right. Yeah.
So we watch very little TV anymore because it's like, you can feel it happening.
Yeah, back in the day when we were watching The Voice and America's Got Talent,
American Idol.
No, American Idol, and the other one, the one in the UK,
America's Got Talent.
Got Talent.
Yeah, whatever it is.
So we used to watch those a lot, and then there came a time, especially when we were watching the Voice, we started looking at each other going, why is this making me feel icky?
Yeah.
Like, why is this show repulsing me right now? And she's saying the same thing.
Yeah, it would be agitated when the show went off.
It was amazing. We sat down, we were just fine, and then we started watching the show, and we realized we were getting angsty and worked up, and we're like, what in the world is going on? All we're doing is watching the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then at one time we hadn't watched it in quite a while, and we went and tried to watch I think it was
America's Got Talent or something, wasn't it? It had the 3 strikes one.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. We went and tried to watch it, and we couldn't watch it more than like 10 minutes.
We were so, do you feel sick?
My gosh, we got nauseous. We had to turn it off. And we realized something's going on with these shows. They're using some kind of, I don't know. We didn't even really know. We just thought that there was something coming through the airwaves.
Well, if you look at frequencies like we do with sound healing and light, you color. I mean, you do frequencies, you do color, you do emotions. I mean, you can you're affected by it, especially if you're open, like you're
Right.
You're an empath especially, but anybody is affected by it because you're seeing things and you're hearing things and it's going into your
all the singing and all that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was like, oh, it just did not feel good.
Yeah.
It's weird. I used to love those shows too. I mean, I would watch all of them, and then I just stopped. And I don't know why I just stopped. I just stopped watching them. I didn't like it anymore.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to be doing the same thing or already have been doing the same thing, but many more are going to start doing it. They're just going to start turning the TV off and start doing other things, putting their energy somewhere else. Some of them might know what it is, but a lot of them won't. They won't know exactly why they did it.
Mm-hmm.
But more than likely, it was energetic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
I know a lot of people who are like that, and I didn't know, and I've been thinking about it because I'm like, were these people always here? And I was just one of the others, and now that I'm vibrating, now I know them, and that I see how they live their life. Or is it happening like with me,
Yeah, I mean, it's your truth. But I actually think that this was planned, that the shows were going to start pushing people away.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can tell you right now, the numbers that they tell you for these shows, that how many people tuned in and what kind of, what their Nielsen rating is, all that, it's all BS.
Yeah,
it's all BS. All those typical shows that they've had on there, they're all crumbling. Even the NFL is crumbling. Right now. It is crumbling. If you watch we haven't watched it this season yet at all, but last season we were watching them. You know what the cameras do? They make sure that they're angled down on the field so you don't get to see up in the stands. Well, occasionally they would do it. They would just kind of
barely anybody there.
Hardly anyone there. These were not only for regular season games, but the playoffs as well. Yeah. Which we used to be all packed houses and whatnot.
Yeah.
Nope. It's all fake now.
And people are reading it, they're feeling it.
Yeah, they're and so a lot of these narratives that have been pushed on us through this little boob tube has basically they're losing their power.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I think this whole shift is all about, is pushing us away from those type of things and then helping us see into what we are starting to feel now. What is it that's now drawing us, now that we've broken away more and more away from the old structures of the old paradigm?
Yeah, because we talked about the fact that if we were to stay locked in, you had the TV. I mean, why not produce these awesome movies and shows and, to keep us attracted to it? But if you think about it, since 2012, 2013, the movies have been depleting.
Crap.
The TV shows have been depleting. They were making remakes of old movies.
Yeah, all they were doing
everything's a remake now. Yeah, a reboot.
Right.
So it's like they're not. It's
like, let's get a new idea.
Yeah, you look at it and go, they're just kind of weaning. In a way, it's weaning us off of it.
Yeah, I think all they've been doing is rehashing old methods, old things. They've just been rehashing because, I'll tell you the truth, I think they were under attack.
Well, not only that, but even the remakes. I mean, okay, so if we have this grandiose remembrance of the movie or TV show or whatever that we loved, and then we watch the remake and we go, ugh, we're not going to have any attachment even to the past one. So
and sometimes I feel like it's a game they're playing, though. Like, let's see how much we can get them to rewatch, or let's redo the same thing and see if they even notice, and let's get them hooked again. Let's just play with us. I think that's a game for them.
Yeah, it's not working though because people aren't paying attention to it.
Yeah, but the thing is that I think it was done on purpose. I think the White Hats took over a lot of these things. Now, in order to put out new stuff, they had to break us. Break us away from the old stuff, and so that's why really, really good shows have not really been coming out. And even the one, I mean, we were watching Game of Thrones, and then all of a sudden it just We just stopped. We were like, all right, we're done with that.
Like after season 3.
I didn't even see we didn't even see the last episode.
No, we didn't see the last season at all.
Yeah, we did.
Mm-mm. We didn't watch any of the last season. We watched the first episode of it. First or second episode.
No, we didn't. We watched all of them all the way up until the last episode.
I don't remember it.
This past season. Do you remember?
Let's not get that on the thing. I'm not going to debate it right now. Go back and look at
I'm
it.
amazed at your memory.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, typically your memory's better than mine.
Yeah, no.
You were tuned out.
I tuned it out. I took it. Yeah. So,
That's funny. Okay. So the last one, which this one, no, we'll see. I had some trouble grabbing this one. So, as the chaos begins to swirl, your dreams will gain clarity of heart. Dreams were the focus here. I got a lot of impressions. I just had trouble putting it to words. I got the impression of people's dreams coming online more, poking holes in this reality to where it started making you question about whether that was real or whether it was a dream. And it would start to happen more and more, and reality, this old paradigm reality, would start to morph into more of our dream world. Now, keep in mind, though, people say, well, I don't want to go into my dream world. It was scary. That was because it was infested with your fears. We would take our fears. They would inject us with fear out here in the real world. Then we would go to bed and take those fears with us, and it would pull up all these things but really what we were doing, if you were it actually worked in your favor. It's where is a sanctuary where you could unload your fears.
yeah.
And so then you'd come back, and then they would just do it again. And they were trying to get us to stay in a lower frequency. But more and more of us were coming out of our dreams with more awakenings, with more truths, and thereby stopping. We were like, all right, we're not watching TV anymore. All right, well, we're not buying that product anymore. Oh, well, we're not doing that. And the old narrative was starting to lose its effect on us. I think a lot of that is coming from our dreams. Our dream, the dream space, dream time, dream energy. I think that is what is starting to really come online.
Well, we've talked in the past about the need to, or the power in imagination, and that's part of what dream time is.
Yeah.
That helps unlock that imagination. And so rather than just discarding it as, well, that was a crazy dream, it's like, play with it, think about it, kind of play into it, see what it's telling you, but also it kind of opens you up to the fantastical. A lot of people, will have, like, I have a hard time sometimes thinking the fantastical, but in my dream time, I can think about things that weren't.
Right. It helps you, the critical mind is set to the side. Yeah.
Yeah. So paying attention to what those are and then playing with them and expanding them will help you do that in the real world. The awaken when you're awake.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, which one's the real world and which one is the dream world?
Yeah.
Right.
I think we've got it inverted. And I think we're now, and the only way we can revert it back to where it should be is where we put our energy.
Yeah.
And I think as we all, I mean, I'll speak for myself. I feel much more comfortable manifesting in my dreams than I do here. So I can go in my dreams and I can fly and I can walk on really tall buildings and not worry about falling. I have all these magical powers and whatever. Now, oftentimes I get stuck on an island of snakes and I'm going out of my mind because of snakes. And then I realized, yet I've never been bitten by a snake. In all my snake dreams, I've never been bitten. It's always the fear that the snake is going to bite me. But I've been dropped in a pit full of snakes, and I never got bit.
Mm-hmm.
And these were in my dreams. And I'm thinking,
Right.
So which one is real? Well, I think they've been crossing. We've been taking stuff from this real world into there to basically flush it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering, is that the real world? And we just come here to do a dream sequence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, we know we're awake roughly 16 hours a day. Do you remember all 16 hours? I certainly don't.
Nope.
So it's hard for me to remember a solid hour straight.
So then play. Yeah. It's, for me, it's that take the opportunity to play in that dream time, where you give yourself the freedom to do those, climb that building or, fly or whatever it is. Yeah.
It's funny when I put my 5-year-old to bed because, she'll be whining. Sometimes I'm like, well, we'll meet in the dream. She's like, okay, well, where are we going to meet? So we have to make our plan, before she goes to bed, where we're going to meet up in dream world.
Oh, that's cute.
She's like, let's go to Unicorn Land.
Cool.
That sounds good.
That's good.
Yeah, it's fun having a 5-year-old around. It makes playing a lot easier and more fun even.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of our role is to clear the space so that they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That way they don't have to worry about security or any of this. They can focus on fantasizing and pulling things out that, that doesn't make sense, or that's impossible. That's not going to stop them.
Mm-mm.
Allow that to be your question.
Yeah.
If she's thinking that, I wonder if I could think that instead of the other way around.
That's right. Yeah, true.
Well, it'd be interesting if the students become the teachers.
Yeah.
That always happens.
Right. Exactly. Anything else for this one?
That's all I have.
So with the eagle, is that telling you bringing anything out in addition?
Is it on like a road? Is it landing on a road?
It's like it looks like a bush or something, and I can't tell if I don't know that that's fire. It looks like, see how it has that on it? I don't know if that's sparks and that's a fire, or if it's just a bush.
Yeah.
See what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
So it has some stuff coming like off its wings, like sparks or sparkles, and then it's landing on what looks like when you have a pile of tree limbs and things like that. It looks like a mound, but it's got this lighted part over here. So I don't know if it's to symbolize it's on fire or not. I don't know. So you can see what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah.
You want to talk about?
Yeah, no, I see it. Yeah.
A sphere here, and it looks like maybe the moon or something back here. So, but what struck me is it's coming in for a landing. It's not flying. It's like coming.
Yeah. It's coming in either to land or scoop something up.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the two.
He's got his claws. Usually when they're getting ready to land, they don't just open their wings like that, but they break.
Yeah.
That one looks like it's slowing down, yes, but it looks like it's claws first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's getting ready to grab something, but
Away his head down and everything.
Who knows? But anyway, very interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, some symbols are out there,
Mm-hmm.
whether you believe in them or not, you're using.
Mm-hmm.
We use symbols all the time.
Oh,
Symbols, I mean, think about brand names.
Mm-hmm.
They're all symbols. They all represent things. Well, that kind of stuff is going to be coming out in the news.
Mm-hmm.
Why certain companies had certain brands.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to start seeing satanic things in these symbols.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, clever ways of hiding 666 in their symbols. That's just an example. And it's kind of like, you can do whatever you want with it, but if it didn't matter, then why did they do it? Like, why wouldn't they do something really clean if it didn't matter?
And it's interesting because we could go down a whole rabbit hole of what is actually the powerful has been said to be evil. Is 666 an evil thing, or is it just a powerful thing that they didn't want anybody else to have access to? So they said it was evil.
Just like
you can have 666. But if you knew that was power and you wanted to keep it for yourself, you're going to say, "Oh, that'll kill you. Don't play with this crystal. It'll kill you." But if we knew that the crystal healed everything in your body, then those knew that was the truth, would use it, and everybody else thinks it would kill you. So there's going to be so much stuff that comes out that's like power and magic and codes and gate and portals that we were told were terrible. Just like the tarot. I mean, the tarot, it can be used such as a tool to open yourself up for things, but we were told, "Oh, you can't do that. That's Satan."
Right.
I mean, so there's going to be so much of that that's coming online. It's going to be.
Well, it's like 13.
Yeah, the unlucky number 13. So.
Yeah. They just subtly made everyone afraid of 13.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that they wouldn't put it in some building. There's no 13th floor. There's no.
Most buildings are not.
And it's kind of like, really? Are we
that superstitious?
Are we that superstitious? I mean,
who's going to pretend it's not there?
People kind of snicker at Friday the 13th.
Yeah. I love Friday the 13th.
I do too.
I'm not saying there isn't energy there, but I think we've all been kind of slightly sabotaged about it.
As a kid, I was terrified. Friday the 13th, 666, all of that. I was like, oh my God, the devil's going to get me. I mean, I was terrified.
Well, think about it. If it's an amplifier of energy that you're putting stuff into, and you put in fear, it's going to amplify the fear. If you know that it's an amplifier and a portal to utilize to boost power or to have an access to something, and you put in love energy, you're going to get, or you put in intention in it, you're going to get different things. So if we would have not known if we would not have been told that was bad and afraid of it, then we might have stumbled across some powerful things along the path that would have been like, hey, that if you do this and this on this day, it's going to bring you these things. And they didn't, the powers in the place didn't want us to have that.
No, I know.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun if you look at it from from a perspective. And I think that's what, some of us who have been learning these things early, that's in a way some of the concessions, it's just kind of like, oh, well, if that works for them, how do we take that and use it in a good way for us? So it's going to be like a new playground for us to play in.
Yeah, once we come to grips that mommy and daddy are not running the show anymore, and who we thought was mommy and daddy were actually, let's just say, our abductors.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't even blood related, and they were our abductors. Once we get away from them, and then we realize, oh, well, who's running things then? Mm-hmm. We all are. We're going to start putting our own committees together. And to me, the people who speak the clearest of the true intent of the people, the persons who do that, are the ones that are going to rise to the top, the ones that are going to start taking more of a leadership, but it's not going to be like the old paradigm leadership. It's not going to be, we're not going to have dictators. We're not going to have like that, because these people are going to be, they're going to be working in transparency. They're there to be true representatives of the people, which we've never had. Politicians have been horrible. Their whole bit was to sell us on this dream that they represented us, and then they would go whore themselves out in DC to all the lobbyists. They were not representing us. They would tell us whatever we needed to tell us on the news or whatever to somehow, placate us.
Right.
But in the end, they had their own agendas.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
But that's coming to an end. And now it's a matter of us building confidence that, yes, we can do this ourselves.
Well, and I mean, as we've said with TV shows, we can pick up things. You can feel, totally feel somebody's agenda when you're talking to them now. And that's going to become more and more apparent. So it doesn't matter what is being said, what they're saying. It's going to be, what energy do you feel and what are they showing,
Yeah.
These are the beginning stages of telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Just having your emotional guidance system on point and discernment on point is really all that matters.
Which takes you kind of centering and detaching and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Fun times. All right. Are we complete?
I feel complete.
Okay. Hold on just a moment.
Okay.